Good evening. Welcome to Source 16 News at 10. New this hour, firefighters battled a mobile home fire in Hopkinsville tonight. Although complete details of the fire had not been released as of news time, Highland volunteer firefighters responded to the mobile home fire at 3048 Butler Road around 6:30 and found the residents fully engulfed in flames. The home is occupied by Betsy and Philip Deason. Source 16 was told on the scene a child reportedly inside the residence at the time of the blaze safely escaped to a neighbor's house. The mobile home was completely destroyed, and at this time it is not known what started the fire. Well, hundreds of Fort Campbell soldiers and their families showed up at the crack of dawn this morning to meet former President George W. Bush. Here's Source 16's Marie Fainer with more details on his visit.
Former President George W. Bush was all smiles as he signed hundreds of copies of his best-selling memoir, Decision Points, for Fort Campbell soldiers and their families who anxiously waited in line for several hours.
He's very to-the-point person. You can see the smile, and I kind of see the joy in his eyes. Good guy. Always been a good president.
Oh, it was really exciting. He actually spoke to you. He took time to talk to you and stuff, so it was really neat.
Decorated wounded combat veteran Sergeant Major Chris Self, who is assigned to the local post's 5th Group, was among the hundreds of soldiers who met with the former president. Self and his wife were personally invited by Bush and previously had the honor of biking with the former president.
Pretty awesome. He looks good. Everything looks awesome.
Meanwhile, a widow whose husband died in 2006 says waiting in line for over 3 hours was worth it.
Absolutely, yes. I don't know. It just felt really, really good to see him in person and not standing behind a podium on TV. And it made him seem real. You know, he's a real person and not just, a president, former president. It's great.
Bush originally scheduled the book signing 2 weeks ago, but had to cancel at the last minute due to wintry weather in Dallas. Soldiers and their families say they would have waited all day long for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to meet a president.
The president used to come to various combat areas, but in the leadership position you don't always get to see him, and so you're happy for your soldiers to get to do it, but I'm very excited. I voted for him twice, and so did my wife.
The book signing was held at Fort Campbell's main post exchange. Marie Fainter, Source 16 News.
In other news, a bill that was filed by 3rd District State Senator Joy Pendleton of Hopkinsville that clarifies federal regulations regarding small farm trucks and trailers passed in the Kentucky State Senate today. Senate Bill 79 is designed to help Kentucky farmers by making it clear that some of the federal regulations that apply to large commercial motor vehicles do not apply to small farm trucks and trailers being used by farmers that never leave the state. The measure also gives Kentucky a year-round planting and growing season and helps farm equipment dealers better serve farmers by making it easier to move farm equipment from dealer to dealer. The bill now moves to the House of Representatives for further consideration. Meanwhile, House Bill 208 will be heard in the meeting of the House Standing Committee on Health and Welfare tomorrow. If passed, the bill, which is sponsored by Representative Lonnie Napier of Louisville, will require drug and substance screening for any adults in Kentucky to be eligible or receive public assistance. Testing would be required for anyone receiving public assistance, food stamps, and state medical assistance. There would be exceptions for individuals with prescriptions for controlled substances. Motorists traveling Interstate 24 in Lyon County tomorrow need to be aware that highway crews will be patching potholes at 3 locations. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet spokesman Keith Todd says the crew plans to work along the eastbound lanes of I-24 from mile point 37 to near exit 40 at Eddyville. Traffic will be restricted to 1 lane in about 1 mile sections. Work is expected to get underway around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and be completed by 3 o'clock. Motorists should be alert for slowing and merging traffic as you approach this work zone. Well, Hopkins County Fiscal Court has approved a Pennyroyal Narcotics Task Force request for the 2011-2012 budget. Judge Executive Donald Carroll told Source 16 that magistrates passed the request for over $7,700 during their meeting Tuesday. Pennyroyal Narcotics Task Force, formed in November 1987, studies and combats illegal narcotics activity. The task force covers 16 counties in western Kentucky and to date has dispersed over $4.5 million to state and local law enforcement agencies within the 1st Congressional District to combat the methamphetamine epidemic. The Inner City Residential Enterprise Zone program will be presenting a renewal proposal at tomorrow night's Committee of the Whole meeting. The program is requesting for the Hopkinsville City Council to continue with a $500,000 annual budget for the next 5 years. The Inner City Res program focuses on improving the city's oldest residential neighborhoods and the downtown business district. Other items on the agenda include a dog park initiative report, a school zone speed limit report, among others. We will have more on the Committee of the Whole meeting tomorrow night right here on Source 16 News at 10. 2 Murray men facing attempted murder charges will have to wait until July for their trial. 32-year-old Cortez Beckman and 20-year-old Terrence Silas, both charged with attempted murder, burglary, and robbery in connection with a home invasion, were scheduled to begin their trials this week in Callaway County Circuit Court. However, Judge Dennis Faust continued action until July in Graves County, citing unavailable lab reports and discovery issues as the reason for the delay. The 2 are charged in connection with the July 2010 home invasion at Chuck Wynn's home on Robin Hood Lane. Wynn, the owner of a popular pizza and Italian restaurant in Murray, was allegedly pistol whipped by the men and then shot when a shooting broke out between him and the assailants. Both men have entered innocent pleas to the charges. Police have made a 3rd arrest in connection to an armed robbery at a home on Madisonville Road last month. Hopkinsville police arrested 18-year-old Devarius Bussell of Hopkinsville Tuesday evening on the strength of a warrant and charged him with 1st-degree robbery and 3 counts of 1st-degree wanton endangerment. According to the warrant, Bussell was one of 4 suspects that entered the home of Brandon Wolf at 3405 Madisonville Road on January 16th. Once inside, police report the armed suspect ordered the occupants to get on the floor of the room, and then they took about $190 from a victim's purse, as well as money from the pockets of the other occupants. Police say while fleeing the residence, one of the suspects fired a shot into the home that came close to striking one of the occupants. An 18-year-old male was arrested on February 3rd at Christian County High School in connection to the crime, and 22-year-old Melvin Stevens Jr. of Hopkinsville was arrested later that night. The warrant says Bussell was implicated as a participant in the armed robbery by one of the co-defendants. Police are investigating a 3rd report of a man exposing himself to women. An 18-year-old female reported to Hopkinsville police that when she exited Express Tan at 4000 Fort Campbell Boulevard around 12:30 yesterday afternoon, a man inside a pickup truck flagged her down to ask her some questions. The female victim told police that while she was talking to the man, she noticed that he was performing a sexual act on himself. The 18-year-old then got into her vehicle and called police, but she left the scene before officers arrived. Around 7 o'clock last night, the victim contacted police to file a report and described the man as a clean-shaven white male with short brown hair and in his mid-20s, driving a newer model silver full-size pickup truck. Police spokesman Officer Paul Ray says they are trying to determine if this incident is connected to the same person that exposed himself on 2 previous occasions, once on February 9th at a female's home on Casey Mead Drive and on November 3rd at a woman's home on North Drive. Police are investigating a sodomy and terroristic threatening case that occurred 4 months ago. According to a Hopkinsville police report released today, the mother of a 12-year-old girl filed a report Monday that on October 15th between 6 and 7 that evening, her daughter was sexually assaulted at the East 18th Street Park by a 14-year-old boy. No other details were released by police. Country music singer Craig Morgan will be headlining Oak Grove's 4th annual Spring into Summer Festival in May. The Oak Grove Tourism Commission says Morgan will take the stage at the Viceroy Performing Arts Center on Saturday, May 28th at 8 o'clock. Morgan is known for such hits as Redneck Yacht Club, Almost Home, That's What I Love About Sunday. Before pursuing his music career, Morgan served more than 10 years in the Army, including a stint with the 101st Airborne Division. The concert is free and open to the public. Well, months after her master sergeant husband retired from the Army, a local woman enlisted in the military at the age of 39. Specialist DeAndre Taylor Scales of Houston, Texas says, quote, "My friends and family thought I was going through a midlife crisis, but some people buy red Corvettes. I just wanted to wear combat boots." The specialist is a standard Army Maintenance System 2 manager for the 17th Combat Sustainment Support Battalion, 101st Sustainment Brigade. After deploying to Afghanistan this past year, Taylor Scales says, quote, "I have sacrificed a lot to be away from my family and to serve the military." According to military officials, the 39-year-old enlisted under a test program which raised the enlistment age to 42, so officials could see how older soldiers would help younger soldiers. Now here is Hopkinsville Christian County Crime Stoppers Coordinator Paul Ray with the featured fugitives of the week.
This week, Hopkinsville police need your help locating 2 wanted fugitives.
Police are looking for 49-year-old Shelby Robert Edmonds, who's wanted for probation violation. Edmonds is a black male who stands 6 feet tall and weighs 200 pounds. His last known address was the 2400 block of Canton Street. Police are also looking for 44-year-old Michael George Meyer, who's wanted for contempt of court. Meyer is a white male who stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall and weighs 220 pounds. His last known address was the 100 block of Paulette Court.
If you know where police can locate these wanted fugitives, and we've got cash waiting for you, pick up your phone now and call our tips line at 887-TIPS. If your information leads to an arrest, Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward. And remember, we will never ask your name, and you will not have to appear in court. Well, this week's Fugitive of the Week, I'm Officer Paul Ray for Crime Stoppers.